Hey everybody, what's happening? It is Danny Burke from Odd Chopper here as always to give you some recommendations for anytime touchdown scores this edition week 17. How about it? We have made it all the way to week 17. Feels like the season has flown by. But at the same time, when you think about things that happened all the way at the beginning of the year, feels like it was years ago. Yeah, kind of one of those things, but I suppose that's how it always happens. But we've got a handful of anytime touchdown bet recommendations for you. Let's go ahead and dive in, beginning with a matchup in Cleveland. The Browns are hosting the Dolphins. Yes, Miami's got to travel away from sunny South Beach to go to, well, Cleveland. No offense to anybody out in Cleveland, just a little bit different destination between Miami and Cleveland. But I am looking at a player on Miami, that being Tyreek Hill, plus 150 at Bet Rivers to score this Sunday. Feel like that's a pretty solid price for Tyreek Hill, a guy who's been lighting up the end zone over his last 4 games. He's found the end zone 3 times in that span. He has 6 total touchdowns on the year. Him and Tua finally getting into a nice rhythm in the latter half of this season. Now, looking at the Cleveland Browns defense, they're giving up about 1.5 receiving touchdowns per game. However, over the last 3 contests, that number has risen to 2.3 touchdowns per game over the last 3. The secondary is getting weaker and weaker as the season prolongs. Miami should be in a good spot here. Tua and Tyreek, like I mentioned, getting into a nice rhythm, and we're getting a pretty nice price here at plus 150 with Tyreek, the clear leader in red zone targets. Jonnu Smith a little bit behind him. Wouldn't hate the idea of taking a flyer on Jonnu, but hey, the elusive speed of Tyreek Hill should be able to torch this weak Brown secondary. The weather's not going to be the best, but it's also not going to be terrible. And even if it is on the worst side, they can always do some swing routes or incorporate Tyreek Hill in some other unique fashion. So I like Tyreek Hill to score a touchdown. He's our first bet in NFL Week 17. Let's move on to a game that should be an absolute blast. The Packers and the Vikings, round 2. Minnesota got the job done in their first meeting at the very beginning of the year. I believe it was 31-29. Minnesota etched the victory. Well, we'll see if the Packers can get revenge. But regardless, it's a high-scoring game, projected at least. 48.5 is the total, second highest on the board. Should mean plenty of scoring opportunities. I side with the Vikings a bit in this game, so I actually have 2 players on the side of Minnesota. Our first is, as you can see right there in the screen, Jordan Addison to score a touchdown. He's plus 170 at FanDuel. Now, Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson have been studs. I mean, they've been great in the red zone. Jordan Addison, a little bit more surprisingly, because when you have a guy like Justin Jefferson on your team and you've got TJ Hockenson back in the mix and Aaron Jones, it's really impressive to see what Addison's been able to do. But Addison has thrived in the red zone this year, guys. 15 of 21. Yes, 21 targets. He's brought in 15 of those targets. 118 yards, 6 touchdowns in the red zone alone. He has 10 total touchdowns on the season. Now, Justin Jefferson has been otherworldly these past few games. I mean, 5 touchdowns the last 3 games. All the attention is always going to be focused on Jefferson, but seeing how incredible he's been over the last few games, even more of that attention should be diverted from this Packers secondary. I mean, it's almost too much to handle. That's another reason why I like the Vikings in this game. But I think that sets up nicely for Jordan Addison, who has been rock solid in the red zone, one of the more reliable targets for the Vikings, and really throughout the entirety of the NFL. Good price here, plus 170. Let's see if we can't find Addison once again for a touchdown score. He's been one of the most consistent players to do so, getting a good price at plus 170 in a high-scoring game. We'll take a stab at that with Jordan Addison. And our other player in this game, the aforementioned TJ Hockenson. Oh, no, Danny, you're going back to a tight end. It never works. Hey, you're not necessarily wrong, but I'm still going back to the tight end position. This time it is with TJ Hockenson. I don't think we haven't taken him yet. Trey McBride has been the guy who screwed us. And I thought he was going to get it last week after Kyler Murray said he was going to give him a touchdown, and we didn't take it. I was kind of trying to take the sacrifice for the good of everybody who's been trying to bet Trey McBride, and he still didn't find the end zone. And now that I said that, he probably will. But regardless, TJ Hockenson plus 2, and I say probably will because, well, I'm recording this before the Saturday night game. So I guess by the time you're watching, we'll see if Trey McBride does end up scoring. All right, going back to TJ, plus 205 at DraftKings for Hockenson to score a touchdown. Now, he was injured the first time these teams met this year. He did do well against them last year. I mean, he did great. 6 of 9, 88 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, again, that was a different situation. It always is. Different quarterback, I understand. But look, TJ Hockenson is still getting a decent amount of red zone targets from Sam Darnold. He's gotten targeted 5 times with 2 receptions and 14 yards over the last few games alone. On the year, he has 8 red zone targets. So the last few games, Darnold has really favored Hawkinson's big body threat in the most crucial area. The Packers are giving up over 1 receiving touchdown per game. Against tight ends, they're giving up 6 receptions for about 60 yards. So they have been liable against those tight ends. Not necessarily in the red zone, but if there is a tight end to capitalize in that area, it should be TJ Hockenson, who's done very well against them in the past. Again, we talk about attention being diverted, Justin Jefferson taking up a lot of it, then Jordan Addison. Then that leaves the big man, TJ Hockenson, who hasn't scored this year, but he's plus 205 at a good price. And I think a favorable matchup and a very favorable price of plus 205. High scoring game, plenty of opportunities as noted. I like TJ Hockenson as another option at plus 205. Hey, you could divvy it up, half unit on Addison, half unit on Hockenson, however you want to do it. I think those are 2 good options to choose to score a touchdown in the NFC North showdown between the Vikings and the Packers. Our final play. Got to give a shout out to my alma mater here, GBR. Go Big Red. Again, I'm recording this game before Nebraska kicks off. So if what usually happens to Nebraska comes to fruition, let's pretend I didn't say that. But Amir Abdullah also went to the University of Nebraska. He thrived there, and he's been thriving lately with the Las Vegas Raiders. He has 2 touchdowns throughout the last 2 games, 1 rushing, 1 receiving, going up in a very favorable matchup facing the Saints, who give up 1.3 rushing touchdowns per game. PFF ranks them 31st in run defense. There also are the Saints 30th in rush EPA per play allowed. Now, McCormick's out. He's injured. We know that. Madison's in, but Madison's not good. He's only getting 3.2 yards per carry. Abdullah's been way more efficient at 4.3 yards per carry, and Abdullah has a slight edge in red zone attempts as opposed to Madison. And Abdullah, as noted, can get you both ways in the receiving game and the rushing game. If you're the Raiders, who have a slight advantage in this game, a lot of people think, the betting market thinks, this should be a really good spot for him, and you should utilize your top playmaker there. Madison has not been getting the job done for you all year. Amir has been getting propped up and come through when you've needed him. Go with the hot hand. Give it to Amir Abdullah. He's got 5 total touchdowns on the year and has been, like I said, hot as of late, and they're giving us 3-1. Now, again, I could be wrong, and maybe they go toward Madison. It'd be stupid, but they could do it. But regardless of how bad the Raiders have been, regardless of you maybe not even knowing who Amir Abdullah is, at 3-1 with a guy who's gotten 2 touchdowns the last 2 games in an incredibly favorable matchup, it is worth taking a flyer on Amir Abdullah here, folks. He is our final play for an anytime touchdown score to wrap up week 17. Thank you for tuning in, as always, ladies and gentlemen. Before we head out, let me remind you, you can get Burke50 as your promo code, 50% off your first week or month for all of my action. For our Tails packages, Burke50 is the promo code. Make sure you check that out. Great opportunity going on. It's been going on. You can still take advantage of that right now. And furthermore, let me tell you about another deal that we have going on that I've mentioned in the past. Let me bring that back up once again. You can sign up with our partners to get expert picks for free. You could choose one of these promos below, and you just go to oddshopper.com, type in Get Tails for free on Google. That works either way. But you choose one of these promos below from any of these sports books, a lot of them that we're dishing out. You sign up using our offer, you deposit, you place a bet, take a screenshot of your welcome email and first settled bet. Then you email support@oddshopper.com with those screenshots. You'll get a month of your favorite Tails expert for free. You can tell us which one you want, whether it's me or somebody else. And however many promos you do, that's how many Tails experts you get for free. So awesome things happening per usual at OddShopper. And we're happy you could be a part of it. Thank you for being a part of this video and tuning in again on Twitter at DannyBurke5. And as always, leave below your people that you are sweating out for a score this week, NFL Week 17. Leave it in the comments. I'll sweat alongside with you, and hopefully we can cash some winners and have ourselves a good Sunday. Best of luck and take care.